the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Abusafo, I'm happy weekend to our platform. Now, Ghana High were lawyers, I would do be brave. In fact, some of them are exceptional. Now, back one, person you do lawyer Fatimar Abubakar, our former information minister in the Nanado Baumia administration. Now, she has weighed in so deeply in the Pwamang lawyer Justice Pwamang committee, John Dramani Mahama Ate. Say probe into the CJ removal case. Na busuafo anope wa hwie ensem ogwo na me pepes obe to boase. Na ya way deep into her talks. Na ya hunu say, in fact, this is a trivial case and this is a predetermined actions of the NDC. Yanko na yanko tie ensem a ode tuya.
Present conversation, there is one issue I may imagine say it has not been addressed.
Okay.
What is the issue? Imagine saying ne obi the impeachment proceedings against President John Dramani Mahama. Na the biggest idea original so say mfantu no. Ene say one ye mame first lady Lordina Mahama out to kwan on a private vacation which he is entitled. Na ye dia buying sika any twa tickets ema ye mame Lordina Mahama ekia no per diem. Na ya gia to mo say nunti yentu omampenye ote akonwa so. Knowing very well say in the Mahama 1 administration, in Mills Mahama administration, in former President Kufuor administration, in JJ time, media did this not even first ladies, second ladies, no mutu omo allowances. State ne bear responsibility for omo juma omo ye omo nanti omo kwanto any activities omo ye mo office mbacho tie ni yo ye nto abama omo uti asema American mani insano. Now, assembly, I just want to establish how trivial the whole thing orchestrated against the Chief Justice is.
Yeah.
And to imagine, says President Mahama, or no na ye di we say dinner. Ebeye ne de and I say ye betina Ghana ha bu ye ni aguso e twantro say ye nimu say a president yere no mukra na e twa ticket di omutu kwan. And I am saying this on the basis say the Chief Justice is not an administrative officer for the executive.
Yeah.
The Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. And all judicial powers is vested in the judiciary under Article 125(3).
Okay.
Ghana hane yedemra yewo supremacy of the constitution and a rule of law. Chief Justice be enu ha yehwe no. Although the process of the appointments and removal and all that involves the president, the Judicial Council, the Council of State, between the time obe take position no and then the end of term, obeja position at all no, onye an appointee or a staff of the executive.
Yeah.
Because Ghana rapport constitution achiche the authorities of states into 3.
Okay.
And the executive power under Article 58 Clause 1. Or say the executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president and shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. And to Omampenye Juma Sene subject to the provisions of the constitution. So now here Article 93(2). Vested the legislative power but Article 93(2) also subject to the provisions of this constitution. The legislative power of Ghana shall vest in Parliament and shall be exercised in accordance with this constitution. And the Parliament is subject only to this constitution, not to the President. And I will call Article 125(3). The judicial authority of Ghana, or say the judicial power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Accordingly, neither the president nor parliament nor any other organ or agency of the president or parliament shall have or be given final judicial power. In the wisdom of the constitution, say yebano judiciary mu interpretation final adjudication year. Chief Justice and so to say president in the judiciary. Also the 2 minutes sanity.
Yes.
On your administrative body. On or yes subject to the authority of the executive. Imagine send obi beko parliament do akoka say yes say the right honorable speaker of parliament Honorable
Abubakar.
Yes, so the year to kwama parliament eto take it man. Enti e ba be pam.
Eso le ke tunda dada. Oko Dubai ya ne yire ne cook. Me boa. House debe. Ni no omo de omo ko. State ne tua. Nipa be 6.
Enti I am saying say the basis omo person omo gina so di etu maami. Na wo ka say omo ahye kokoa mu na omo achechire da bi. NDC fo anhye kokoa mu anchechire.
Omo ye na monte mo bi ehunu.
Fie mi ense ni omo ka kire ye. Ese omo mu no reset bebrebe na omo ka ne kire say omo mu hu no say NPP for doso wo judiciary mododo. Tio by NPP for they mean say under President Akufo-Addo judges are appointed to the superior court and even the lower court, but our target was usually at the Supreme Court. Enti omadwin omo so omo ba ese so omo hwehwe NDC for omo so a judge for na omo appoint omo na omo nkrofo nkodoso wo superior court omo anka no kokoa mu abonten
what kind of bonten
even after omo lose omo lose election omo win abai the national chairman of the NDC oko granting interview or say Chief Justice and the Oko, say the easy one or many chre.
I said, no,
omo ba say, omo baba be to Chief Justice. And fun say, so why papa now, why bonny and now 1 year bibia. Omo can see you. President Mahama, no accept giving you position and no share, and this for a lawyer for, and somehow no ankasa. Bebre wa bobi o show you so about metia.
Yeah.
Can not just say. Or ye na dwene say at all cost maame no ye bechichiro ye besane ye sese etu. Na Gordon, you know the interesting thing. Aba ye de bo techi. Ye de bo ni wie ya na asoki wo kerosene mu. Eduru ba so a ye de bebo no.
E be kwa twice.
So all those who are advocating for maame no, it's not for her as an individual. But we are saying say obeda sorry ochina. Chief Justice now wadwene ye no say wode na eba no, are you trying to say so no time will be co-terminus with yours?
I said it
because on also so beko no be aba beka se nanimu kra anya no fe enti me the petition aba yenyi no uko say article 146:10 Emma President Akonya say he may suspend the Chief Justice subject to investigation or mobile babe he has the power. When the Constitution says may, a discretionary power,
yes,
any the amount. So knowing how trivial the issues are, President Mahama could have chosen to say, I will not suspend the woman.
In fact, in the case of Mrs. Charlotte was saying, President Akufo-Addo, the Constitution says, shall suspend and I'm what? May. Was it me or shall?
146 in the case of the Chief Justice no
I'm talking about
their removal is all subject to article 146 because their appointment is also pursuant to qualification
so Nana Akufo-Addo then decide they say one suspend the mamma until say assembly be die ye report to be told anymore yen the constitution is woni hu de obeye bia constitution is o man ntina wontina e se won kwa report be so wontina won kwa wonko e ba se won omonko enwa no he didn't suspend her but what de wonya kwa suspended even ahead of receiving the petitions.
And I am telling you say it is so sad, okay, because NDC for no basis in an say, ye probia in because you say President Akufo-Addo time near Pamo Mame Charlotte say.
Yeah.
Now, Brago don't me know yatna even this particular studio ya analysis on this issue.
Yeah.
Now, and Kwalano Mokasana at the time of that incident, let me say no mundi politics echi. Yeah, baby. And I'm a the deputy ISIS. Omo church petition against each other.
Yes.
I can't talk about audio babon to one more papa more omako. If you hear the audio
trading accusations,
na bomo chiche free so asebe catch us or then chima we ginechi. And even that no a call for investigation, not any rash action. Omo ankasa inside na no submitted documents. But you have a situation.
Other to the Yoko.
So at the end of the day, no, don't come and trivialize and say because Omomuhu procurement breaches, there were other issues. I'm reporting the deputies to Yoko. Yes. There were recordings of one of the female commissioners. What can someone did that bontema? Is no crane, no, all of a sudden, Osesade ayepe obi ayinadi. Na yepe obi ayinadi no so it is the head of the judiciary and na esi ayinadi because obi say mema ko before the court. I'm a panel of 5 judges. Court not me contempt. Enti no yet intimate petition amba say yenyi ma me no kwatie. Court it was a panel of 5. And also court achi no contempt. Enti no ma me na preside enti ese yenyi ma.
Areho.
Enti asem no ase ye ka wada ye ka no samu ase nkrofo nche dan te asem na se. Ena mi bisa senti na obi nkofa impeachment proceedings against president say because first lady em to abama o.
Betrem emu da ho.
Ena ye man no to bibia na emu ka e de atwa tikita malana. Na be who NDC small boys and girls nkwala ese ma me twa business class. Mo nkwala nketenkete ye hu mu on first class mu di dallas. Nkwala nketenkete toto fefe wa mo mo bra bia. Na in any case bra godon. Bra. Why na ye be appointed to the Supreme Court wa bra on meet the minimum threshold for appointment?
Oh, they say you can't cross it. So one
year lawyer. One practicing for 15 years.
Yes.
One you proving integrity be appointed to the Supreme Court. President Akufo-Addo bedi mampenyi 8 years. Da bena President Akufo-Addo saki Supreme Court friend say
one saki will be ada
there be na maybe say
there be
that Bernard President Akufo-Addo saki will be because he did not intend and never interfered with the judiciary. If it is the case say Musu obi aya appointed at the time of President Akufo-Addo be a NPP judge and na mo kire say 7 na President Mahama do amaba modu amoba reset omo ye NDC judges
with him I mean this close will be
na some is unconstitutional
me the removal of Mrs. Saloto saying, I was integral part of it because me publish story no back to back is the front page of ABC. There's nothing about petition or more responsibility, and I can put it here. Say the president Nana Addo Akufo-Addo wasn't even in support of the petition. But there was nothing that he could do. In fact, he was at pains when the report came to him, say, Mamini should go home. He found it difficult to make it public, say, he didn't like it. But his hands were tied by the constitution. What the was shut out triple park and upon thing. Second, judicial good would be never to the dean. Was it unanimous 7 at the president?
And see, at the end of the day, no, near ahumeten so ne say, Obian Bisa say, is it the case? Say previous justices of the previous chief justice almost survey. Now, omono almost spouses aim to kwayana. Obian Bisa say, is this the first time my chief justice any nukunu to kway one? But you case no so yen cheche mu ye nya say bia omu to kway multiple times. So the petition is against one trip with the husband. And another one single trip with Neba. And she is entitled to 2 private trips. Vacation. And it is set out in the your friend is saying emoluments committee in the Professor Dubuando committee. And the previous justices of the Superior Court, they were also entitled. Yeah. I'm told say even amendments no cry ama explicitly on the private vacation man for spouse anka only was because that her predecessor did not have a spouse.
But you see, it goes without
by convention.
Yes.
And by practice, that was the exception, not the norm. But anybody before her, no money were entitled to this same benefit.
There be 3 arms of government.
Aye.
President, and then a year in the Metu Quine.
Aye.
Speaker in a year in the Metu Quine. Then the 3rd, I was one they were called on Quine.
Aye.
Are we okay?
It's strange. It is strange. And see, Godon, me too, no. I am make say. Also, you have the Yama authority under Article 146(10). And so you have the discretion to suspend her. But what they fail to do, they say, Constitution, no, you soon impart to you reading as a whole.
Yeah.
And a Constitution, under its miscellaneous provisions, no. I must say, why your friend is saying, discretionary authority no you need to exercise such an authority in accordance with article 296.
Okay.
And me person me read the article.
You can't use it capriciously.
Thank you. I may person me read the article 296 in Chemo, which is on the exercise of discretionary powers.
Yes.
Or say where in this constitution or in any other law discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid.
Okay.
The exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. And C, where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instruments or statutory instruments regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution or other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power. And to know who exercises discretionary power na inconsistent with Article 296 a buga number ponso. And it is my view, I say the discretionary power now President Mahama exercises, you know, it is because Bayen Fiemi no Fiemi send wakano publicly on the NDC Mpenyinfo national chairman any NDC communicators omote baby yeba chief justice no President Akufo-Addo apake court no yeba resetting of the judiciary yeba EC ye resetting into ordinary resetting agenda ni the breach constitution no and obi ete hono no ye hwenhwe ha
minister what been to do honestly speaking this part of the constitution mean kind say or discretionary powers no say constitution kwa sa the use of
how
your
it should be used
now and then me say the constitution the car say you can't use your discretionary power based on resentment, dislike, prejudices.
Bias. You have to use it fairly
but the question
and candidly.
Prejudice.
Yes. Personal dislike.
Yeah, publicly displayed.
Until umpenasem. Yeah, some of their supporters would do them back. Or say you be na dia you president mama no muna dia or say pamuno.
And the other dangerous thing that they are doing, and I make us say, we omuye a president.
Yes.
Oye na also what to na. Ochina ni awode na eba no o kwa asesa ne niam di wachina mo.
Ecoterminus.
Because obi nso so the petition beba. Obi kra petition on the ban or say who here so the evidence ba say.
Enso se yaji atum.
Who enso most have established a prima facie case against the CJ. On what basis?
One for evidence ha.
Enti enne who can say ebre bi atwa mu who the NPP before do ya atwa mu contempt. Samuel Kube can say atwa no contempt.
Ken Crunchy.